Hey, I am very, very grateful to start this week off with all of you. I am like, something's off. I was talking to my sister this morning, and I'm like, something is not jiving. Is it the 13th? I don't know what it is, but something in me is like not on level. And so I'm here with bells on and very, very present. And grateful to Nama for this gift of a space to anchor and start our week together. Just very quickly say hi to each other in the chat, introduce yourselves. If you're new here, hi, please tell me and say hi. That would be so nice. Um, while I'm yapping, just grab a warm drink, something to write with and write on, as we always do. And I'm very excited for these next 30 minutes with Nama to just press pause in our day and start our week together um, in this beautiful way that Nama teaches. And Nama, thank you with just such a full heart for just bringing us back here with such regularity. I was reading somebody, another Jewish communal professional was lamenting how it's hard to get people to come and have a regular practice outside of the more traditional, like tefillah and regular prayer and Shabbat spaces and holidays that we need it as humans to have this space that is regular and consistent, but it's hard to actually create it. And I realize every time we open this Zoom room what a gift this space is. So thank you so much, Nama, for holding us today.
Thank you, Ariella. It's always a pleasure to be here, and thank you for holding the space. Hello, everyone. It's good to see you. Good morning, Shavua Tov. Um, so just a reminder, we're here at Ogen, and Ogen means anchor in Hebrew. And what we're doing is every week we're trying to get one word that can anchor us for the week. And I'm just letting everybody know that I'm not in my regular space. I usually speak to you from my home, and today I'm somewhere else. So you will hear a little bit of voices around me, and my background is a little different, but I wasn't able to make it in time home, and I did want to be here. Um, so yeah, so we're here, and this is a place to anchor from wherever we come. And what we're doing here, we have two metaphors that we always go with. One is you can think about it as like life is like a stormy ocean, and we're like on our boat, maybe with other boats. And our work is to anchor ourselves through connecting to other boats who are with us in community, here in this room, in our families, in our local communities, and also to connect ourselves to the depth of the ocean, to the place where everything comes from, to the divine, to the unconscious, by throwing a word or throwing a thread into a word every time. And the more words we have, the more we can stabilize ourselves in the movement. We're not going to stop moving, but we don't want to move totally unconnected to anything. We want to be connected. These connections are keeping us stable. So we want to be connected to each other, and we want to be connected to these words that will hold us in place when we need it. The other metaphor that we're using is the beans. And it's just like how when we're able to um, just send one shoot a week and then another shoot a week, then at some point it becomes a canopy. It becomes like a full thing of green that can protect us from the sun when we need it. I'm currently growing peas on my southern window of our house. And it's amazing how they grow every week. You can just see it. Every week we put another little line in our for them to climb on. And the work of like doing it day in, day out, week in, week out. And I think this is always how I feel about it. And Ariella mentioned regularity, but we're also in this week of the Omer. This is the fourth week of the Omer. And if you're in our coloring group, you saw my post about the week that we're in. And this is the week of Netzach. And Netzach means eternity. And this is a week to kind of like meditate on and pay attention to just perseverance. This is one way that we're acting in life. And that way is like the way that like one foot after the other, one step after the other, just moving forward, remembering that there's an eternity and just walking through it, walking towards it. And this is a really strong quality that, as we know, with the different qualities, with the different spheres, it needs to be balanced by moments of quiet reflection and stopping. But this week we're actually meditating on this like ongoing, moving forward, throwing another anchor and throwing another anchor and growing another shoot and growing another shoot and kind of like doing this work that sometimes I think about it as maintenance, just like maintaining life, maintaining our well-being. Everything that exists in the world is because people really work on maintaining it. Everything that exists in the world is because there's some creatures that maintain it. And I feel maybe it's even like the biggest work that God has. The one who renews in his grace every day, like to bring the stars up and to take them down and to put the sun out, as you can see on my face, and then to move the sun away, like every day to maintain the processes, every day to maintain the strength of our bones, the strength of our mind. That's netzach, that's maintenance, that's our work. That's the work traditionally that females were doing, women. And that's the work that so many people are underappreciating. They're like, oh, of course there's food here. Oh, of course there's someone to listen to me here. Oh, of course there's someone like to hold my hand here. This is really deep work of care. And that's the work of care that we're doing towards ourselves on Monday mornings, putting another anchor in to help us stabilize our energy. So welcome to Ogen. And we're going to take 2 minutes to just pay attention to ourselves and ask what's moving in me today? What's going on for me? What do I need to pay attention to? Um, so take a moment and oh my gosh, sorry. I think it's just going to be sunny. Let's see if I can. No, I don't think I can take it down. So maybe I can move to the other chair. Okay, yeah, that's better. Um, yeah, so take just 2 minutes to write to yourselves what's moving in me, and I'm going to call us back in 2 minutes. Hey, excellent. So when you're ready, come back. And if you want to share with us in the chat what's moving for you, that will be excellent and great. Um, and we're going to move to our anchor for today. And that anchor is the word ma'avar. I'm going to put it in the chat. Um, for those of you who were part of like ceremonies last week for the Yom Has, there's a ceremony, a tekes between Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut, which is usually called tekes ma'ava. Um, it's a ceremony of, I don't exactly know how to translate it best, but like of moving between or of transformation or transition. Um, and that's a really interesting thing to think about, right? Because usually we're thinking about the thing that we're in or about the thing that we want to get to. But the question that I want to kind of like just think about today a little bit and actually anchor us in is the question about transitions. Transitions happen in our life all the time. Transitions happen in our life all the time, and they can be actually a place of comfort and connection if we're able to not be afraid of them. So let's say a few things about transitions. There are big transitions in life, right? First of all, we're born into this world. That's a big transition. Then there's like transitions that we're marking, like the first menstruation for some of us, maybe bat mitzvah, moving into like adulthood, marriage, um, birth of your own children, if you did that, starting to learn a profession, graduation, right? These are big transition. And then the biggest of all, death, right? So we have these like big transitions in life that usually this is kind of like the points that we're using to think about our story. Like I did this and then I moved that, and then I moved to this, and then I moved to a different city maybe, or I moved to a different country, or and these movements and transitions are really shaking a lot of things. They're shaking the stability of whatever felt stable before. There's also small transitions. For example, waking up in the morning, going to sleep, moving between the workday and my non-work day for those of us who are working in a work that is not in the home. The moving between if I go on specific transportation um, vehicles, all of these are transitions, and transitions are a big deal. As as I say here many times, there's a lot of things that I'm learning now as I'm parenting, and I see with my 2-year-old like how hard it is for him sometimes to transition. He needs to transition from one thing to the other, and that can be a place where like he starts to cry or he gets agitated, or sometimes it's also a place where like from a place of agitation and cry, suddenly there's like a whole new emotion that comes in. So I did a little bit of reading about it, and I found, okay, guys, I found where to take the shades down here. That's how. Okay, great. So I found that there's like really interesting studies in the last years that are looking into the difference between emotions and feelings. I think most of us heard about it at this point. And the difference, the way I understand it, is like we have emotions, and these are kind of like in the body. We feel them. It's kind of like suddenly feel a spurt of something, joy, sadness, disgust, anger. And these are actually in the body. They have now, all this information about how our muscles are moving in response to specific emotions. They used to think that there's like six basic emotions, and now they speak about 32 basic emotions. But like when we're struck with anger or with joy, our face moves a specific way. There's hormones. It's like really happening in the body. And then there's the emotion, and then there's the feeling. The feeling is already our interpretation to the thing. So the way, I think one of the most famous examples for it is that we can feel the sense of what the sense of like urgency. And then depending on how we interpret, some of us will feel it as stress, And some of us will feel it as excitement. And they did this really interesting study with athletes. And apparently, what we interpret as stress, highly successful athletes interpret as excitement. This is why they can work under such crazy stressful situation, right? Think about like a million people looking at you and you're like about to shoot into the basket and you feel it as excitement. I would definitely be very stressed. So this is the difference between the emotion and the feeling. But the most interesting thing for me is that emotions are actually gates for transition, gates for transition, for moving from one thing to another. Something happens, we have a spurt of emotion. It's our deepest systems that are telling us something is moving now. Here is something that is going to push you to the next thing. Something here you have to respond to. I think it's like so interesting to me because then there's so much work that we can do on interpreting these cues that tell us transition is happening. So I'm not going to even speak about how we do all these like interpreting. And I'm sure everybody here has ideas of how to do the interpretation, but just calling our attention this week to say, like, wow, when I have strong emotion, transition is happening. When transition happens, usually I have a strong emotion. And I was thinking a lot about the fact that we have all these like little rituals for times of transition. For example, there's so much ritual around going to sleep. Not all of us do it, but like there's saying the Shema and there's like specific passages that we're adding. And there's like, if you're saying the whole thing, it's like, um, if you're doing the whole thing, then there's like, I'm asking for forgiveness for all the people that maybe I heard. There's like a whole thing before a transition. A transition into sleep is like such a big transition. We do it every day. It's crazy. But like, I think again, when we're with young children, we see how hard it is transitioning into sleep. It's hard to let go of the day. And sometimes it's frightening to let go of the day, to go into a place that is unknown to us, that we don't know exactly what will happen in, right? So that's a big transition. It's a big leap of faith almost to go to sleep. So we have like a ritual there to help us go through the transition, to help us process this emotion that we feel when we're about to go to sleep. And some people have a harder time to go to sleep, and some people have an easier time to go to sleep. But basically, this is a place where you're really learning to soothe. It's like an amazing thing. Um, that in order to fall into sleep, you have to be able to soothe yourself, to do that thing of like, okay, I can do it. I can move into that new thing, into sleep. Um, so that's just one example, but I think there's also bigger rituals around like the bigger transitions in our life. And sometimes we want to ask ourselves, like, do I need some ritual here when I have like a big transition? Maybe there's a transition that other people don't see, but for me, it's a big transition. Maybe I want to say something small when I get out of the house in the morning. Maybe I want to say something small when I go into the house in the end of the day. Maybe there's something here that I need to just help me process that movement, not to take it lightly, to use it as an anchor to know, oh my gosh, there's going to be a movement now. My life is made of many different parts, and I'm moving between them. And the movement sometimes is smooth and sometimes is actually bumpy. And when I come back home, I might need a cup of tea and kind of like just collect myself for a moment before I'm getting into everything else in the house. And to do that kind of like movement. And I think the thing is really kind of like also stunning me when thinking about the word ma'aval is the word ma'aval is very close to the Hebrew word for fetus, ubal. And that's maybe the biggest transition that we're doing, right, into life. And then there's ways where we're describing in Hebrew death as avar, who passed on, right, in English too. So there's like the ma'avar into life and the ma'avar out of life. And that's a place that is called ibur, a place of pregnancy, which is a liminal place, right? It's a place of transition. So I'm inviting us to just think this week, like, how do I kind of like hold myself in a safe and warm and protected place when I'm in transition. When I'm in transition, when I'm about to go into a big transition in my life, how do I collect myself into a pregnant place that feels good and safe and collected? How do I tell myself it's okay? You're gonna have to go out soon. Might not be so easy, but it's okay. You can do it. And I'll be there to support myself as it's happening. And hopefully I will have, or I'm gathering a community that can do it with me. I don't have to do it alone. So just to think about these moments, these sometimes very fleeting moments of mava, of transition, and what they can be for us, and how they can also teach us what we need from the next time. How can we listen to the emotion that comes up to prep us to make that little switch in the road? So that's our word. And you know how words, we're trying to just recharge them. And to say this word many times this week, maval, 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 maval. And we'd love to hear in the chat from you. What are things you're hoping to, what's just an insight you're hoping to walk with maval this week? Thank you so much. I think we'll take this insight from Ariel. I don't know why I became echoing suddenly. Okay. No. Anyhow, I love your insights. Thank you so much. And Ariella, please send them to us if you can. Um, I wish all of us really good transitions this week. Really good Mavari. We'll see you here next Monday. We're going to meet every Monday until Shavuot. And then we're going to take summer break and meet again around Elul. So much love to everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for holding each other in this anchoring place. And I'll see you next Monday.